Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Let rain fall, let rain
Good afternoon and welcome back to Laurel Park, and thank you for joining us here on Today at the Races. I'm your host, Gabby Gaudette, joined by Stan Salter. And well, we kicked it all off yesterday. I thought we rang in July very well. We had prices galore. We have carryovers galore today and 10 races on tap, and you couldn't ask for better weather.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day yesterday. Fergal Lynch, he had a good day. Three-bagger yesterday. He won 3 in a row. 3 nice price winners yesterday for Fergal Lynch. And, long shot galore. We have 3 carryovers today. And there's the prices from yesterday, opening day here at Laurel Park. You see only the second race, Shinobi, was a short price favorite. He paid $360. Little Kitten paid $560 in the third. But look at all the other prices. Fergal Lynch, he got his 3-bagger going on 79er, paid over $56. Then he won on Daniel Ledoux. That was a nice pick by you, Gabby. And then that nice first-timer trained by Phil Schoenthal, Inspired Flight. Big prices yesterday. The average win price you see down there at the bottom, over $27.
It was crazy. And we even saw the pick 5. It paid 3 out of 5. It was just such a tough sequence. You can see in the sequence there, the final 5 races on the card, even the pick 6. I believe everybody was out maybe by the time we got to the 7th race, actually. So there was a single on the 7 in race 6, and that horse didn't show up. So, you and I kind of talk about this over and over and over again, that it really does pay off to play the pick 6 like a regular pick 6, not a jackpot wager, because if you do go in with a serious ticket, in all honesty, you probably will be one of the few live tickets going into the final leg, if not the only.
Yeah, if you get all 6 winners, which is hard to do, you saw the prices there, you have to go deep and have some long shots, but if you get all 6 winners, you have a good shot at taking it all down. Nice carryover today, a little over $11,800 in that Rainbow Pick 6. That'll start in race 5 today on our 10-race program. The late Pick 5 has a nice carryover, over $2,700 for that. That low 12% takeout, that'll start in race 6 today. Little carryover in the Super High 5 as well, $653 in that rolling Super High 5, low 15% takeout in the Super High 5. That will start in race 1. Also starting today in race 1. I know you're going to have a ticket for it. This is pretty cool. I'm excited for this wager. They have it down at Gulfstream as well. An early Pick 5 will start in race 1 today. Same low 12% takeout. It's a 50-cent play. It'll start race 1 every day, and it's a mandatory payout every day for that early Pick 5.
You can see it there, industry low takeout at 12%, and we only have a carryover in the late Pick 5. So as you said, mandatory payout in the early Pick 5. So that carryover that we do have today, sometimes it's confusing. The carryover in the Pick 5 of $2,700 today, that goes to the late Pick 5. So the early Pick 5 is no carryover, but it's still going to be a very fun wager to introduce here at the Laurel Park Summer Meeting. So we'll get to the outside. It's beautiful outside here, Stan. I couldn't ask for a better day. When I woke up this morning, I'm on DC area news, but they said it's going to be a gorgeous day, probably the best day of the weekend, and that's exactly what we're getting today. Going to probably be in the low 80s, sunny, and the turf is firm currently. Main track is listed as fast, and we start it all off at 1:25 p.m. and for these 10 races on tap. And it's honestly, looking at the early pick 5, the late pick 5, sometimes I exaggerate a little bit, but today it's a very tough sequence. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have another carryover tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be a big Sunday fun day here. We'll have Sunday brunch for everybody in the kids zone as well, out on the apron. And then I'm looking forward to our 4th of July holiday card here, live racing for you on Monday as well.
Okay, should we get to it?
Let's get right to it. The first of 3 carryovers starts in the first race, a Super High 5. It's a low 15% takeout for the rolling Super High 5. A little carryover today, almost $654. Let's take a look here at my ticket for the rolling Super High 5 here in the opener. It's a 7-horse field, 8 horses in there because you have an entry, the 1 for Richard Shalansky. I'm going to use the 3 on top. Pocket High will be probably your favorite, 2-to-1 morning line on the 3. I'll go 3 over the 6-7, over the 1-2-6-7, over the 1-2-5-6-7 for the bottom 2 spots. A $36 play for the rolling Super High 5 gets going here in race 1. It's a low 15% takeout and a nice little carryover here in the rolling Super High 5, a little over $653. Maiden claiming $10,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, going 5.5 furlongs on the main track here in race 1, and also kicks off the early pick 5. And you have a ticket.
I do have a ticket. 50 cents is this play, and once again we said mandatory payout in the early pick 5, so taking a stab at it. No Creepy the Crab in the first leg. I'm sorry, Stan, if I had more money I'd throw Creepy the Crab, and I know you like that horse a little bit, but going 3, 6, 7 in the first leg of the sequence as we move along, using 4 horses in race 2 with the 3, 4, 6, and 7, 2, 5, 6 in race 3, just dwindling the ticket down to 2 horses in the final 2 legs. I couldn't find a single. I thought it was very hard to find a single in the first couple of legs because there are some of those, cheaper claiming races where you find that you want to maybe single on maybe a 2 to 5 shot, but we know how those go. Sometimes they just don't show up, and that just paves the way to some prices, some very nice prices. So hopefully it can pay dividends here in the early pick 5. Let's get off to a good start. First ticket of the first pick 5 that we've ever had, or early pick 5 that we've had here at Laurel. So $72 is the play. And race 1, Stan, we'll take a look at the field. We have 2 short price favorites, one of them being the 7 outfielder. And we'll go back and take a look at this horse's replay last time out. Now, he has dropped in class in the past 3 starts down to the $10,000 level, and he's really been heavily bet in his past 2 starts. We can see outfielder running, closing from off of the pace. Unfortunately, he has one running style, Stan, and that is slow early and kind of a plodding late. And do you want to take a short price once again on a horse like this who is a type of runner that is a bit pace dependent? And he did start to pick it up late, but once again, it's he's dependent on the pace, which I think only one horse has, and perhaps the 6, Jacoby J.
Outfielder, I pick him second. He's burned too much money at the windows the past couple times as the beaten favored, always right there. But he's been at this maiden 10 level now for 3 times. He's one of the horses to beat. Trevor McCarthy has a good outside post. He'll be tough to beat, but I'm going to use him second. I'm going to try to use the 3 Pocket High on top. Pocket High got down to the maiden 10,000 last time. It was the first time going short maiden 10, and it was a good second that day with Caitlin Stoddard aboard. Caitlin Stoddard's back aboard, and this horse has run some decent races in the past. Just last March here at Laurel Park for maiden 25,000, a good third that day. So Pocket High now back here to Laurel Park, trains here at Laurel Park with Robbie Bales, gets the 7 pounds off, and that could make all the difference here in a bottom maiden race like this.
I think speed is dangerous in bottom races like this, so I went to the 6, Jacoby J, because he's been kind of forwardly placed in the past couple of starts. Yes, I know he's an 0 for 18 maiden, and I really didn't want to pick him, but you're going to get more value on a horse like this. He has already been well exposed at this level, but he could use his speed to his advantage and hopefully breaking sharply and being the one to catch on the front end. He has been able to get away with that type of situation and hasn't delivered in the past, but I do like the fact that he's at least going 5.5 versus a 6 furlong, so I'm hoping that is the strategy there in race 1 to try to beat the short price favorites.
He'll be out there winging it. Those last two races, they look pretty good. 38 and 36 buyers. They're way lower than the 3 and the 7, but he'll be out there winging it. And if he gets loose on the lead, he could go all the way.
Let's hope so. We'll get to race 2 on the card, a $5,000 conditional claimer, 1-turn mile onto the main track. And this is another race where we have the likes of the 4 Twisted Earl, 9 to 5 on the morning line, and subpar performance last time out as a very short price favorite.
I have him on top here, and I key him in some of my early multi-race wagers. I think he has that newfound confidence. It took him a while to break his maiden, and then after he broke his maiden, we were saying all along, maybe just let him go right to the front. And that's what he did last time, and he kept on going. A very dominant winner last time, a 60 buyer with the maiden win, then a 65. So he's going in the right direction. I think he continues to go in the right direction today. Probably maybe some activity at the claim box here in the second race, as I think the 7 Sabiadoro in solid form right now for Phil Schoenthal. And the barn going well as well, and Toledo with a nice outside draw. Everything looks to be in this horse's favor.
And talking about the 7 Sabiadoro now, yes, I agree with you, but going back to Twisted Earl, who is the morning line favorite, I think he is vulnerable because I went back and watched the replay at Delaware, and he drew to the inside. He actually cleared early, and that's the type of running style that this horse likes, and he got away with that, and he still couldn't deliver. Now dropping in class from Open Company, it does make him dangerous, but I think you're right. I think Sabiadoro has gained some newfound confidence by his new running style, and maybe he could turn things around. I will say everything went his way in his past 2 starts. The pace fell apart when he won by 9 lengths, and he just inherited the lead and drew off. In his last race, he got away with mediocre early fractions and just went wire to wire. That said, who's to say that he won't get away with similar circumstances today? He'll be pressing from the outside. We do know that that's his best running style, is to be on or near the lead. So you and I both agree. We throw in the 4 as well. I'll use the 3 Pirates Cove in here too, because he looks like one that should be sitting in the catbird seat. His previous dirt races were nothing to write home about. They weren't extremely impressive, but I do think he fits the flow of the race in terms of pace. Stan, you opt for the 2, My Jersey Boy, who is another one that could be picking up the pieces.
Closer gets 10 pounds off, a very nice lightweight assignment of 110. If there's a fast early pace, this horse could be rolling late. He is a winner at this 1-turn, 1-mile distance before. Gets the bug boy today for Charlie L. Frock. A nice 6-to-1 price. I think will be running late.
All right, let's move along to the third maiden $10,000 event, 1-turn mile on the main track. And this is one of the short price favorites that I was alluding to when I was showing my early pick 5 ticket. The temptation is there to single a horse like the 2 Runaway Dude at 6 to 5, but we all know how this goes with low-level maiden claimers and low-level claimers in general. They're very, very inconsistent. Now, Runaway Dude I do pick on top, as do you, because I think he perhaps is the speed of the speed, and the argument is, yes, he'll improve second off the layoff. And obviously, that was a decent for level race as we saw Sabiadoro come back to win.
Yeah, the 4-year-old son of Awesome again should be sitting on go here for trainer Jose Corrales, who stables here at Laurel Park. And the race last December, that was a very, very tough maiden special weight. Catane, the winner, would come back to win. Something win and miss. They gave the horse the winner off. They gelded him. Big improvement last time. Was a big drop to the maiden 10, and he's right back in here for the maiden 10. At this mile distance, he'll probably be staggering late. This guy is getting 7 pounds off with Calais Francois. Francois picking up some steam at the end of the Pimlico meet with some winners. So this horse should be long gone. The 6 and a 7, I think the 2 main challengers, but we're talking about an 0 for 11, 0 for 16 horses. So maybe I just knock one of those 2 into the winner's circle, but this is Runaway Dude's race to win here.
And I think Tempieto is probably one you want to use protectively, because just when you fall asleep on a horse like this, he finds the winner's circle. The 0 for 11 has swayed me away from him a bit, but the 5 Colmont Moon is kind of the unknown in the race, and that's why I want to use him in the pick 5, just in case these 2 short price favorites don't show up, because he is by Bulls Bay. He's got a decent pedigree. He's out of a Malibu Moon mare, and the second dam, the only bad thing was the second dam was actually a graded stakes winner going long on the turf. So the inkling is there that, okay, this horse should have run better on the turf. But he is taking a big drop in class from maiden 16,000. He did go a mile and a 16th where he didn't pick up his feet. He puts the blinkers on, so maybe he could find kind of a new a new outcome on a new surface.
It's a nice pick to throw in the mix there because, yeah, a lot of unknowns here. The trainer, Robin Graham, very, very good. So the horse could improve here today at a big price, dropping, getting on the dirt for the first time with blinkers on. So that's a nice 15-to-1 shot for strong connections that could show up, I think.
Let's hope we can get a nice price there in the early pick 5 as we go right along to race 4. We go on the all-along turf course, 5.5 furlongs there. And I wanted to go back and actually take a look at one particular replay of the one Daylight Ahead in the Stormy Blues. And this is when this filly made her turf debut. So kind of a tough ask after actually winning in debut and then facing A Other Than Company. She did win on the dirt and then trying to get her to the turf. She was the number 5 in this race. You can see her kind of check a little bit early there actually at the half-mile pole, and she just doesn't she gets into a lot of trouble there, the number 6 horse, and just loses momentum. At the same time, she is a little wide as well. So we all know at 5/8, especially when you're going against very fast horses, and you're going against a field, that particular day, speed was holding very, very well. These are all factors that you have to put into play. She did, once again, try to make another bid down on the inside, and I thought it was actually a very impressive bid. She starts, closing from off of it, splitting horses, and finished with a lot of good late energy after that early trouble. So I'm willing to give her another shot. However, Rail Post at 5.5 furlongs here at Laurel, not the place to be. I think I had a bet going with you one time.
Last summer. I
think there was one bet in the entirety of the summer meet. I mean, one win from the Rail Post in the entirety of the summer meet.
And then you had me. Then we went double or nothing. You still had me. So, yeah, come on, Fergal. He had a big day yesterday with 3 wins. So, tough assignment for him here to navigate a good trip from the rail on this filly. I pick her on top. She's a well-bred filly. She did everything right on the dirt. And I thought that was a very, very good race there in a tough Stormy Blues with Coco as Chanel of the winner. That was a very good race. Got a 71 buyer coming off about a 6-week break into that race. This filly, she trains here at Laurel Park. A lot's to like, and there's a small field, and you have a very good jockey riding for a good barn. So I like her 5-to-1 shot on top here.
All right, let's bring her home stand. The 5 Tap It Out is 2-to-1 on the morning line, and Alan Goldberg wanted to show a stat for the Alan Goldberg barn. And I think you might want to use this filly because she actually did show some speed for first time blinkers on, but Alan Goldberg, with his horses on the turf, cutting back from routes to sprints, 25%, a positive ROI over $3, 56% in the money. Once again, she got blinkers on for the first time. She showed speed and faltered at 1 1/16. Now cutting back to 5.5. She's one that could just be sitting kind of in the mid-pack of the field.
I like Alan Goldberg. I always root for him. I like to bet on his horses, but I throw this filly all the way out. I think she needs longer. The last race was pretty good, where she went to the front and got tired. So I like the move here, cutting back route to sprint, and he has good stats, as you just showed, with that. So why I don't like the horse? Well, I just think there's some other nice ones in here, and I think Tap It Out needs longer down the road. Be coming late, might get a piece of it, get second or third, but I don't like the horse to win it all, so I think that's why I left the horse out of the top 3. I think the 2, Awake Today, has run some very, very strong races. Look at the race back in early April right here at Laurel Park on the turf. That was a tough 3 other than Allowance condition, tougher than this condition here, and she got beat just a half a length to Monster Sleeping, 2 wonders who would come back to win. So Awake Today is a nice filly, gets 7 pounds off with the Apprentice, and I like the 7 too. Pret Say I think Angel Cruz gets the best trip here on the outside on this filly.
I agree with you, and she is one that I think she's better at Laurel at the 5.5 furlongs. It gives her the ability. We see sometimes a very key difference in turf sprinters from 5 furlongs to 5.5, especially because they go to the second wire here. And she is a filly that just looks like at the top of the stretch, that's really when her gears start to get going. And she's not as fast as some of the other fillies that she faces at 5/8. So this gives her a little bit of time to gain her momentum and close from off of the pace. So she's also one that I think she's best if you just don't mess with her too much. It kind of wasn't the case last time out, but now she draws an outside post, and I think she could have a lot going her way.
I think she'll get a good trip for sure. One horse that's interesting, when neither one of us pick her, but my Magician, your Maryland Million Lassie winner as a 2-year-old a couple years ago, trying the turf for the first time today here for trainer Mike Trombetta. She's coming off a layoff. We haven't seen her since last November. That was a winning effort against a tough first level allowance condition. Now trying the turf for the first time. We've seen the Street Magicians do okay on the turf.
And she's actually a half to a filly named Louise the Laser, who ran, I believe, maybe closing or second to closing weekend at Pimlico for Wesley Ward, and she's a turf sprinter. She's won a couple of times sprinting on the turf. So there's a little bit of turf pedigree there on the bottom side for the 4 My Magician. 3-1 on the morning line. She is accomplished on the main track. But with that said, that's races 1 through 4. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into the 20-cent Rainbow Six. How does an $11,000 carryover sound?
Almost 12,000. Sounds even better.
All right, we'll get right to it after this break.
Next January, 12 horses, $1 million buy-in for a $12 million purse. It is the world's richest race. It is the Pegasus World Cup.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Trying to get a little sneak of water, right?
Well, we have 2 carryovers coming up.
We
almost.
talk too much, so we need some water. Our mouths are dry. We have a lot of nice carryovers actually still to come, including in the Rainbow Six. That carryover just shy of $12,000. We were out, I believe, in the 7th race or 6th race, after the 6th race on the 9-race program yesterday. So it pays to play a serious ticket. You can take this down. Stan, you can take this down. I have faith in you.
And it's a nice maiden special weight to kick it off today. A tough one. I think you have to spread a little deep here in this first leg. So I'm excited to see your ticket and see if we can maybe take this thing down today.
Man, it was a tough sequence. I think this is probably tougher than it was yesterday. So good
Too
luck
deep
to
in the
him.
first leg, taking a stand in this tough maiden special weight turf scramble.
I'm taking a stand in the first leg because I had to spread in race 7, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I like 2 horses in here. I love the horse to the way outside, the number 1A, Kept. 1A draws to the way outside. I also like the 11 Sazerac Girl. I thought had some excuses and cuts back, which I think is preferred as we move right along to the 6, using the 1, 2, 6 in that leg of the sequence. Race 7, I really thought this was a spread race. Maybe you saw it differently, but this is a starter optional claimer. And tough condition. I went with 5 horses in that leg of the sequence, trying to get a nice price as we get to the final couple of legs, just using the 3, 7, 9 in race 8, the 3, 9 in race 9, and 5, 8 in the finale. $72 is my ticket. And looking at the pick 6, Stan, I don't know if you did, but did you see any leg of the sequence where you could find a single potentially?
Yes, my late pick 5, my best bet of the day. I'm going to use this horse as a single coming up in race 9. It's a nice allowance race going long on the grass, and I love the 9 Broken Bridle for trainer Gary Capuano. A couple horses I like a lot today for Gary Capuano. Javion Toledo on the 9 Broken Bridle. I see you have that horse on your ticket, along with Desert Princess, who's in top form, won 3 in a row here for trainer Robbie Bales. 3 for 3 since getting in the new barn is the 3 Desert Princess there in race 9.
Broken Bridle is definitely the one to beat, but I think Desert Princess is a horse that's on the upswing, kind of like Shinobi, kind of reminds me of the horse yesterday, so I used her protectively as well. We get to race 5, though, on the Dahlia, 5.5 furlongs onto the turf stand, and I go to the way outside with the 1A Captain. You actually brought up an interesting fact that the second dam for Kept is safely kept, so you get some really nice bloodlines on the bottom side. This 3-year-old filly is by exchange rate, and she's also a half to a horse by the name of Came Back, who's an 8-time winner sprinting on the turf. That horse has made $215,000 on the turf. Here's a stat for Alan Goldberg: maiden sprinters going from dirt to turf, 46%, $5.92 ROI, 69% in the money. That strong statistic was good enough for me to pick this horse on top.
Yeah, exactly. I love the breeding here. The second dam we know her well around here, and that's the Hall of Famer Safely Kept, champion sprinter. Maryland bred, so kept, comes from a nice family. The dam here, Safe Returns, a two-time winner, only made about 50,000. However, she's been a solid producer. All her foals combined have made over $1 million. Came back, you mentioned, that horse made a bunch of money on the turf, was trained by Alan Goldberg. So Goldberg knows this family well. She'll get a nice outside draw. She has experience, and she's shown enough speed on the dirt. Now she's going to get to the surface. I think she's bred for with Jevion Toledo aboard, and a nice work on the turf at Goldberg's training center, the Colts Neck Training Center up in New Jersey, June 29th, a half mile, 47-3 on the turf course on a training center. 47-3, that's a pretty quick time.
Absolutely. So you and I both opt for her. You throw in the 6 Forever in My Heart. Talking about solid brood mares, this is another solid brood mare. All of her foals collectively have made just about $1.5 million.
Yeah, I saw that. The dam, she won 3 starts from 4. She won 3 races from 4 starts, made over 50,000. This filly is a half to an officer and a lady who made over $200,000. Was a 3-time winner in turf sprints. So this one's bred to be a good one, I think, on the turf by Roman Ruler. Timmy Keefe, we've seen him with first-time winners before. Pop at big prices. You get Trevor McCarthy to take the call here. So Trevor's been working this filly in the morning. He must like her to take the call in a race like this. So I like that. So I'll use this horse second, and I'll throw the other Tim Keefe into my top 3 as well. The 3, Coastal Sea. This filly's a half to You Lucky Man, who's made over 330,000. And you look at the work tab, very similar work, same days as the 6 Forever in My Heart. So if I like the 6, I think I have to like the other Tim Keefe first-time starter in here as well.
The only thing about the 6 Forever in My Heart, and I thought it was intriguing that Trevor McCarthy is aboard this one, but the mare, sometimes you have to look at the age of the brood mare too. She's 25 years old. Her last good horse was bred in 2004. So that was the one thing that kind of made me a bit cautious for that runner, but you're getting a good price, so I can't knock it too much. The 11 Sazerac Girl, though, I'll go with kind of a proven commodity, and unfortunately, yes, she is starting to rack up those seconds and thirds, but it's probably because she's been going against some solid contenders at the maiden special weight level. She's going to be primed, ready to go. As I said, she's best sprinting, so she cuts back in distance off of trying to route. Last time out, she faced Lenina, who has been in very good form, who actually was going against the boys as a 2-year-old. Do What I Say, a very nice Mike Trombetta turf sprinter as well. So I think if some of these other new shooters and kind of unknowns don't show up, she's going to be sitting right in the catbird seat.
I liked her a lot last time, stretching out the 2 turns, and she kind of sputtered a little bit, so she probably can get back into good form today, cutting back in distance. Fergal Lynch with the 3-bagger yesterday, riding here for Ann Merriman. I like the barn. I don't have her in my top 3. I just think is a very, very tough race. She might get caught a little wide or something, come with a run.
Yeah.
She'll give a good effort, but I don't use her in the top mix. Very, very tough race. How about the 5, West Coast Bias, the Tom Proctor first-timer by Unbridled Song. The dam made over 450,000, had 6 wins on the grass going long, though, so maybe the 5, who's 4-1 morning line, maybe that horse needs farther as well.
That's always a question, but first-time starters on the turf, sprinting, actually Tom Proctor bats at about 17%, 42% in the money, and I like the strong work tab of this first-time starter. We'll get to race 6, though, moving right along, a $7,500 claiming event, 6 furlongs on the main track. This kicks off the 50-cent late pick 5, and we have a nice carryover in that. And Stan, I know you have a ticket.
I do. Let's take a look here. Low 12% takeout for the pick 5, and it's a little over $2,700 for the carryover today. Let's take a look at my ticket. Starts here in race 6. I'll go 3 deep, the 2, 4, 6, and then in race 7, just using 2 horses in there, the 11, 13, race 8. I really do love the 6, Intrepid Alex, today at 12-1. I'll use the 6 with the 1 and the 7 there in race 8. My best bet of the day, key horses, number 9, Broken Bridle in race 9, and then I'll go 5 deep in the finale, a maiden 16 going long on the grass using the 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. A $45 ticket for the late pick 5 starts right here in race 6. A low 12% takeout, nice carryover. We're on the main track here for race 6, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. This is a claiming 7,500 beaten condition. I'm going to go with the 4, Photogenic on top. Last time just put a line through that last race at Pimlico. I think the horse, the time before was on Preakness Day in the mud. Nothing went well that day. But you look back at that starter allowance, the last time this horse was on the track here at Laurel Park, a very tough starter allowance that day, going 7 furlongs. A good third that day at 28-1 to a couple very nice horses, Right Squall and Cooking Up a Storm. So if Photogenic can get back to that effort we saw him here last time at Laurel, just forget about the last 2 races at Pimlico. He didn't like Pimlico. He doesn't have to ship today. He trains right here, and I'm going to go with that horse 6-1 on top.
Okay, I get the entry 2-for-1 deal to 1. It's a bang in here, and Daniel did it. And it's a bang I thought faced really tough for level claimers last time out. That open level condition, I think he's taken a big drop here today. We saw Dixie Deputy reel off back-to-back victories, I believe, even 12 Stone. That was a horse who was running against Allowance Company most recently. And he also gets the 1A. Daniel did it to the outside, who has that outside controlling speed, which I always think is dangerous in these types of races. So going to be using that one on top, but we both use the 6 and the 2 protectively. I think I'll Run the Show gets a little bit better of a post than Mail Order Groom and potentially could turn the tables.
Yeah, Mail Order Groom, a very, very nice horse, 8-time winner, but a tough inside post. First off the claim for Rick Silliman, the barn going very well. Fergal Lynch, the hot jockey, so lots to like about the 2. That's why I throw them in the mix.
All right, moving on to race 7 out to the Dahlia. This does kick off the late pick 4, and I did come up with a ticket here, so we'll get right into that. A $45 ticket, and we started off in a race where I spread really, actually in the pick 6, I used 5 horses. I'll use those same 5 horses in the late pick 4 with the 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll get to those in just a moment. But going with the 3, 7, 9 in race 8, 3, 9, of course, using your single in the 9th race as well in Broken Bridle, and capping it off with the 3, 5, 8. I love a horse at 10-1 in the finale, which we'll get to just shortly. Race 7 does start us off 5.5 furlongs on the turf, though, Stan. And I thought, maybe you don't agree with me, but I thought this was kind of a wide open event.
The 11 Minor Legend, I think, would be very tough. Probably get a nice outside stalking trip with Fergal Lynch aboard for Hugh McMahon. This horse ran a big-time race first off the claim last time for Hugh McMahon at Pimlico at the same condition, beaten by 13th Avenue that day. Had to come up with a wide run, but so I used the 11 second like you, and maybe we have the same thinking here with the 13-11. I think the 13 on your mock. Nice 6-1 price for Jamie Ness. This horse is in very, very good form. Jamie Ness gets one of his regular riders, Daniel Centeno, aboard. A lot of speed from the outside. I think Centeno can control this race from the outside with this horse's speed. I think 13 gets the best trip.
I agree with you. If you have an outside post like that, sprinting on the turf, you want speed, and he very well could be the fastest early to clear. But besides him, going to be using Minor Legend, he's a horse that just doesn't like to finish strongly. We've seen Fergal Lynch. He's one of the strongest finishers in the circuit. So I do like the fact that he's aboard this particular horse, but also using 2 other horses in here, or several others. But the 8 Boon Companion, I think he won at 6 furlongs against similar company here at Laurel on the 23rd of April. If someone decides to go with some of the speed, it could set up for him extremely nicely. 5 furlongs too short for this horse. And we also get the 10 Sweet Liam, who drew the rail in his turf debut last time out and had to kind of regather himself and close behind a wire-to-wire winner in Silent Tail. So Alex Intron in the saddle for that horse. There's a rider change to the 10 Sweet Liam. So I thought it was, even though I do like the outside speed, it could really set up for some of these horses who are just on the cusp of winning.
Exactly. I throw the 10 in there. Sharp effort last time with a bad inside post, better outside post today for Ollie Figgins. And same thing with the 8 Boon Companion. Kind of got covered up inside last time. But Laurel Glazier had a nice win at 14-1 here at Laurel Park last time, sprinting on the grass.
Okay, we'll get to race 8 on the All Along, a 2 other than allowance, optional claimer. A mile and a 16th there on the All Along, and this is another very, very nice race here. And we do have the likes of the 3 Koala Queen for Arno Delacour, 9-5 on the morning line. And yes, she ran against much tougher company last time out, but this is a tough condition as well. She got Lasix last time. They took the blinkers off. Now they're putting the blinkers back on. I think this is one that just maybe hasn't really researched. She did take a step forward in terms of by her speed figures, but she hasn't quite found the winner circle. What does she need to do in order to win here? You throw her out completely.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody wants to put these 3-year-olds in the Hall of Fame already. They haven't beaten older horses yet, and I think they're going to get schooled today by the older horses. You do as well. You're
Yeah.
going to go with Vicky Tiki Tavi, a well-seasoned 6-year-old mare for Hammy Smith, who's won this condition before, in for the price. And I'm going to go with the 6, Intrepid Alex. I like the 3, Koala Queen. Strong connections, Arnaud Delacour, but I think the 3. And also on the outside, the 8, Hidden Treat, both the Arnaud Delacours. 3-year-old fillies facing some older monsters in here. You have one of those monsters on top, the 7. I have another one, the 6, Intrepid Alex. I've been waiting for this mare since last summer. This 4-year-old filly, should I say, daughter of a Fleet Alex. I've been waiting for her since last summer. I loved her last summer when she almost won the A Other Than at 17-1 on a yielding turf course. Then she came right back. Very impressive win against A Other Than. She was hounded the whole way. She repelled all challengers. A sharp win, and then Gary Cap stepped her back up to the 2 Other Than, and she ran into just a monstrous field. Gypsy, Judy, Lola Bow, they hounded her the whole way. Maybe that race took a little starch out of her. They gave her the winner off after Delaware. I like that. I think they know they have a nice one here. The Dam was a stakes winner, and this mare, she's a good-looking horse. I love the way she looks. They said after the end of August, hey, we have a nice 3-year-old here. Let's give her the winner off so we'll make some noise as a 4-year-old. So she has the 1 race under her belt, the turf sprint at Pimlico, so she should be fit here. Second off the layoff, Gary Cap has some nice stats second off the layoff. She trains here at Laurel Park for Gary Capuano. Carrasco is aboard for both wins last year. I think
I
Intrepid
love how
Alex,
excited you're getting about
I think
her.
she's going to be a very nice 4-year-old for Gary Capuano.
Okay, well, I went to the 7. Vicky Tiki Tavi here for Hammy Smith will show a stat for Hammy Smith. Third off the layoff with his horses going long on the turf too. 15%, but a positive ROI. And this is kind of the prototypical type of horse that does win for Hammy Smith. 28% in the money as well. She is, she's been facing 2 Other Than company on the turf. And this is what you're saying. The class kind of resurfaces with some of these younger fillies either stretching out in distance or stepping up in class. That's when these older mares are just waiting to pounce, and the 7 Vicky Tiki Tavi fits the bill. 3rd start off the layoff. So going to be using that horse as well as the 9 to the outside, who I think was competitive against others. But again, I don't blame you for just completely throwing out Koala Queen.
Yeah, I throw out both the 3-year-olds. The 9, Jade with Envy's a nice horse that could run well first off the claim for 10 miles. That mare's in for the tag. She's won this condition before. How about 2 Wonders? She's in for the tag. She's won 23 races in her career, so she probably won this condition a long, long time ago.
Absolutely. That's a really, really competitive race. We'll get to race 9 to kick off the late daily double onto the Dahlia at 1 1/16 for this first level allowance. And I would imagine that Broken Bridle is going to be the single on many tickets. 7-2 on the morning line, but she is arguably coming out of the toughest races. I want to show a replay of Broken Bridle here and just kind of the stretch run just to show how impressive she was against Airgain last time out. This is when she did go 1 1/16, and she is kind of, she's so versatile that she can sprint, she can go long, she can run well on a soft track course, she can run well on a firm course too. I just thought the winner was extremely game to the inside, but this really outran her odds at 8-1.
Yeah, she did. Big time race. That was at Pimlico. Got a 78 buyer in that race. She was wide, so very, very strong race. Toledo's back aboard today. Toledo was aboard this horse when she broke her maiden on the grass going long last year. She's 3 for 3 in the money, a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd from 3 starts over the grass here at Laurel Park. She's a well-bred filly here for Gary Capuano. And she now has 2 races under her belt going long on the grass. She's back here on her home track. This is my best bet of the day. Tough race as the 3's in very good form. I think the 6 Race and Shine, just draw a line through that last race. You look at the last time we saw Race and Shine here at Laurel Park, and that was a tour de force at almost 10-1. Got a 76 buyer that day. Found a tough allowance race on Black Eyed Susan Day at Pimlico, but I throw the 6 into the mix as well. We both like the 3, Desert Princess, in very good form.
I wanted to show this replay here quickly as we have to move right along, but she is one that has really stepped up to the plate at every single time they've asked her to, and she did get into some early trouble. You can see her steadying going into the first turn, and we can see the turf having a little bit of cut in it that day. And then again, speed just holding very well. She just grinded this trip out. The pace did kind of fall apart, as we can see a multitude of different closers closing from off the pace. But she's very, very classy filly, and I have no concern with her stepping up in class. Now, Trevor McCarthy does ditch that particular runner, go to Red Parasol, which I think was kind of interesting. We never know what goes on behind the scenes, but Daniel Centeno, more than capable rider. And the thing that I like about both these two fillies, Your Broken Bridle and Desert Princess, is that there's some sprinters stretching back out to 2 turns. There are several horses that have good speed, and I think they're going to get the right setup that they need.
Yeah, and she's in very good form, and I like these closers like this. They don't run the first part of the race. They have a cup of coffee, and they start to run in at the top of the lane, so they probably come back fresh, and they keep that sharp form. So I like the 3 a lot here for Robbie Bales.
We'll cap it off with the 10th and final race going out to the All Along at a mile and a 16th. So the last couple of races on the card, all on the turf, and they're very competitive races. Maiden 16,000. I love a horse, and here, Stan, the 8 is going to be my top selection here. Multiflora, and I just think that this 3-year-old filly is, last time out, actually, I think we have a replay. Yes, we have a replay of Multiflora and Cherished Prize, 2 horses that both come out of the same race. We can see Multiflora down in the back of the pack, and Cherished Prize kind of forward than this horse. This horse loses a little bit of ground going into that first turn. We can see Multiflora really closing from off of the pace, because she was really hard to settle going into the first turn. She checked slightly, whereas we can see the other horse, Cherished Prize, down on the inside. He's kind of ceding the lead down on the inside, whereas Multiflora is just starting to get going. So 6-1, I'm hoping Fergal Lynch can have another good day.
For Fergal Lynch and Ann Merriman, they could have a big weekend. They had a nice win yesterday with Daniel Ledoux, and they had some nice winners at Pimlico as well. So they team up here. They're about 22% recently here in Maryland, Fergal Lynch and Ann Merriman. So I like that horse. I like both the Michelle Nevin horses in here as well. I believe we have a stat on Michelle Nevin. She has the 5 and the 7. The 5, your morning line favorite, Feisty Valentina. But that horse, I couldn't pick the horse on top. A 4-time beaten favorite at the windows, so a big-time money burner. I'll go with the other horse who might be just as good, and you get Trevor McCarthy aboard, and that's Arc de Nua.
Yes, absolutely. But first, going back to the 5, Feisty Valentina for Michelle Nevin. This is another, I think, vulnerable favorite. As you said, for those points alone, is that she has already been exposed and beaten. But also this, Michelle Nevin has fantastic statistics all around. Not here, though. Turf routes, second off the layoff. Only 4 for 41. That's 10% and a negative ROI. They do finish in the money quite frequently, as Feisty Valentina has in the past, but they just don't seal the deal. So maybe this is one you want to use protectively, but also, horizontally, you might want to beat in this race.
It's a drop to a soft spot here. Victor Carrasco aboard, but the 7, Arc de Nua, second off the layoff here for this 5-year-old mare, and if she runs back to the numbers that we saw at Monmouth last summer, back in May and June of 2015, a couple strong efforts up there, so she's good enough to win this, second off the layoff, and you're getting Trevor McCarthy aboard.
And you throw in the 3 Cherished Prize, but you don't use my top selection, who I thought ran a tougher race last time out.
Yeah, well, they could have a weekend cutting back. They're still going long. Well, you had Daniel.
Ronnie Jenkins, though, in Hillwood Stable. You just can't ever throw them out.
You had the Daniel Ledoux horse yesterday at 70-1, so I'll let you have all the Fergal Lynch and Ann Merriman Thunder. I'll go with the Intrepid Alex Thunder today in race 8.
Well, it's a very, very competitive sequences. And once again, we do kick off the early pick 5 today that starts today at the Laurel Summer Meet, races 1 through 5. But we also have carryovers in the pick 6 and the late pick 5 and the super high 5. I'm running out of
time, literally.
I'm running out of time and breath. So with that said, we're going to take a break. We'll be back for those races 1 through 10. But Dave Rodman must get up here with all those scratches and changes. Thank you once again for joining us here on Today at the Races. Good luck.